Today we have the redesigned BMW X2. This X2, even though it's a smaller BMW SUV, gets grown quite a bit. So it is bigger, it has all-wheel drive standard, it gets more power and some updates. We're gonna take a full detailed look at the exterior, the interior, and go for a test drive. Let's get started. All right, y'all, let's take a look at the exterior of this redesigned BMW X2. So now it has a new look, it's bigger overall as well, and this particular model has the M Sport package. There's some different packages you can get. I think it's also got the premium package. We'll talk about all of that good stuff. So right up front, we got a new grille, big grille, looks similar to some of those sedans that we've seen recently. Moving over here, you've got a little air curtain down there with this glossy black. You've got these slick looking LED headlights and LED turn signals in there. BMW always does lighting really nice. One thing with the X2 is the styling. The X2 is gonna be more coupe-like compared to that X1. This is the Storm Bay metallic paint. It's kind of that milky bluish gray color that we've been seeing a lot. 19-inch wheels here, gloss black half on the mirror. And dimensionally, it's a lot bigger. It's 179 inches now, so it's about 7 inches longer than it was before. Is that a good thing, a bad thing? We'll take a look at all the interior space in a little bit. Coming to the back, following this dramatic coupe-like rear end, we get LED taillights back here. You even get a lip spoiler up on there as well. And there's a pretty cool function with the BMW logo that I'll show you, and you'll see it's X-Drive, all-wheel drive is now standard. Now there's a couple cool ways you can open this X2. Obviously you can use your key fob, you can use the button inside, or you can just press the BMW logo like that and it pops up. You can also use your foot to open or close it, and there it goes. So you've got hands-free option or you've got finger push option. Now the cargo space back here might be a little bit better than you'd expect. It's 25 cubic feet and up to almost 52 with the seats folded down, and this does get bigger than the previous generation. Over here you've got a little built-in cargo net right there. You've got a bag hook right here. So this is actually nice. You can sling like a bag, grocery bag, purse, backpack, whatever, and they're pretty stable. So it's not like a little tiny hook that could pop out for a cargo net. There's also a 12-volt power outlet. There's a light back here and a little storage box there. Underneath of here, you even get a spare tire, and it's surprisingly deep. There's plenty of room for jumper cables or a first aid kit, things like that. To fold the seats down, you have to pull a strap right there, and you can see we've run into a problem with this. I'm gonna have to move that. And with the seats folded, one thing I wanna mention, you have a split folding seat there, so you can fold down, you know, a 40-20-40 split for long items or the reverse for this. But decent space overall for a vehicle of this size. Now, take a quick look at the key fob. So I actually had somebody comment on this key fob and say, this is how you know you're driving a fancy car. Apparently they really liked it. I think it looks nice as well. You can 3-press this lock button for remote start. That is a $300 option. Otherwise, you've got the trunk opener and the unlock button. The smart system is just on these front doors, not the back doors. You press that to lock it. Mirrors can power fold. Otherwise, it has a sensor in the back. And you can have this set to where when you approach the vehicle, it can unlock, or when you walk away, it can automatically lock. Now, moving in, nice materials on the door here, on the armrest. We've got memory settings in that speaker grille, 2-position memory settings. That's just for the driver's side. Nice, big, comfy armrest with some padding. And the seats in here, I've got a couple little squabbles with them. I love the side bolstering in here. That looks nice. I also appreciate the ability to extend the thigh cushion. That's on both sides, but this is synthetic leather. It's not a real leather. This headrest feels a little bit far forward. As you can see on that one over there with a more upright position, it really does push your head forward more than it should. It's how it's meant to be apparently for support, but the cushioning in here is good. The comfort in here is good overall. My only squabble, really, true squabble, is that we don't have lumbar support. There's no adjustable lumbar support. It really surprises me. The steering wheel is leather wrapped right here, and it's manually tilt and telescoping with plenty of range of motion. Now, this is my first time being in the X2 or even the X1, so maybe I'm missing the lumbar support, but I can't find it anywhere, and it really surprises me that there's no even manual adjustment for that lumbar support. These seats are heated, but you have to go into the screen in order to do that. You can tap right there, car's not even on. The seats are heated. You can adjust them right there. The steering wheel is also heated, so you do have to go into the screen, but at least it's a pretty easy shortcut to get to. Like I said, this is a leather-wrapped steering wheel as well, so heated leather wheel. Aside from the headrest and lack of lumbar support, I've been pretty comfortable in these seats for the most part. I definitely appreciate the side bolstering. It feels like a sporty seat. Now, since this was lengthened for this generation, let's check out the back seat space. But first of all, we've got soft materials up here. They definitely didn't cheap out with that. This whole door panel looks really nice. You've got a big, comfortable armrest here and grab handle there as well, with a pretty big bottle holder and storage area. And back seat space. As we take a look, you've got the same kind of synthetic material back here for the seats. So sitting behind myself, I'm 5'9". This is where I have my seat comfortably. Not a lot of space. I mean, I got a little bit for my knees and enough for my feet, which is good. Little mat pocket on both sides. And I'm happy to see that you get air conditioning vents back here. You also get 2 USB-C charging ports and just an extra little shelf. In the middle, fold down armrest, even little rubber pieces to help accommodate larger or smaller drinks, which is not always the case in back seats. And sitting up tall, even with the hat, I've got enough room here. So even though this has the coupe-like posture or the coupe-like body, there's still enough headroom back here. And of course, these backseat passengers get this big panoramic view. So this door right here actually has a big enough bottle holder to be able to accommodate a big mug like that. You also have a button to open up your trunk. Over here are your light controls, rather simplified though. So this one gives us the M steering wheel, and there's kind of a cool function with this that I'll show you with these paddle shifters here. The controls are kind of interesting. So cruise control over here, if you press this button a couple of times, the on-off button, it will go between like a normal adaptive cruise or an assisted driving, where there's more lane centering technology involved there. This is primarily for your screen there or for your audio controls. The one thing missing here is for the adaptive cruise control on here, like pretty much every other vehicle, there's no adjustment for distance. You have to go into the screen and have it preset. You can adjust it, but you can't adjust it on the fly, which is very interesting to me and kind of annoying. Now we get a pretty large screen right here. Don't mind those sensors. Those you are not able to see with your eye. It is just on the camera. They monitor you when you're driving. Now, speedometer on the left, you've got power meter on the right. A little bit interesting, there's a couple different setups that you can do on here. So using your steering wheel, you can change what kind of content you can see right there. Move over, we can also change the layout. Nothing, not quite as customizable as some in terms of what information you can all get. And we get a head-up display up there as well. And it shows most information that you would probably want. Coming over here, you've got a large, like curved screen. So this is kind of the new thing that you see in vehicles nowadays. The screen over here isn't necessarily huge, but it has a good amount of, space on here. So over here, you've got touch sensitive controls, like a back button, you can go quickly to your media or navigation. Your climate controls are integrated into the screen down there. Temperature wise, it's easy. You can just go up and down on temperature like that. But if you actually want to adjust like fan speed, like sometimes I do, you have to tap and you wait. And then depending on if you're in auto mode or not, then you can go between the fan speed there. Sometimes I just want to crank it up and it's just a delay because you got to go into the screen. Very small complaint, but that's how you get to your primary menu there. Hit the home button and then it kicks you out of Apple CarPlay. You can tap Apple CarPlay, which is wireless, by the way. You've got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. I love that it is wireless. You can go back to the regular BMW menu, and you can see all kinds of different things that you can control in here. It's almost too cumbersome. There's so many things in here that I probably wouldn't even touch most of the time, but you can control vehicle-specific settings. As you can see, your exterior lighting, driving settings, doors and windows, and how all that stuff goes. And while we're here, if you want to turn off auto stop start, you have to go onto the screen to deactivate it one time. You can activate that menu by pressing this, and you also have a volume slider right here, which is nice, and seeking buttons, which is also nice, but it's just a little cumbersome. Going into reverse, we have a 360 camera and parking assist. So this can help you park parallel and perpendicular. You've got a nice camera. You can tap on the screen and actually see right next to your vehicle. So it works really well. Moving down, we've got wireless charging mat right there. It's nice to see. It's really interesting actually because you've got this little flap. This flap, when you can put your phone in there and then push it and it like holds it snug and secure. You just pull it out like normal. You've got a couple of cup holders right there. Down here's the start button. This is your shifter, and park is right there. You can have it automatically engage the parking brake when you do that as well. Automatic brake hold, your drive mode button's right here. Press that and it'll show up on the screen. So you can go between a custom personal mode, sport, or an efficient like eco type mode. And this is that quick menu button that I pulled up on the screen earlier. This armrest is interesting. It's a 2-tier setup. So you've got some space down here, and this is like a kind of rubberized grippy liner, which is really nice so stuff doesn't slide around, because you're gonna need to throw a lot of stuff down here because you don't have hardly any room in here. My sunglasses barely fit in there, so it just depends what you're gonna be keeping in there, but it's a soft, long armrest. The glove box over here is actually a locking glove box and soft opening. We get this Sensitech dashboard. The interior in here looks pretty nice. It's honestly pretty sharp looking for an X2 model. I've had a couple people comment on it on how it just looks really nice and it looks expensive. Some people thought that this was more expensive than it is, but considering it's an X2 and not like an X7, for example, obviously classes are totally different. You get an automatic dimming rearview mirror right there. Your light controls up here. I'll talk a little bit more about lights in a second. You also have a fisheye camera right there. So that is literally a camera you can take a selfie with if you want to. One other nice thing is that BMW gives us some ambient lighting. So you can change the color here. You can determine how bright different areas are. If you want, you can toggle this on and make it so that when you're driving at night, it just makes it more dim. Same thing with these lighting effects. So it will actually show you, for example, like with a call coming in, the lights will have a little effect, or any safety warnings, things like that. There's some lighting, as you can see under there. There's some backlighting down there, kind of at our floorboards. Over on the door, there's a light strip as well below those vents. So it looks pretty nice in here at night if you've seen any of my other BMW night videos. And one more thing, actually two more things. Check this out, big old panoramic roof. You probably saw that with the back seat. One complaint, so you got your normal visor here, pull it out, and it doesn't move. You don't have a slider, it doesn't move either. And one time in the week I've had this, that sun was getting me right there. Now under the hood, you get two different options. This base model, and then you've got the M version. Regardless, for 2024, this gives us more power and more torque, and here are the numbers. You've got a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo with 241 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque, paired with a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission, which I'll talk about in the test drive, and all-wheel drive is now standard. Miles per gallon can be 28 mpg combined, and if you want more power, you can go for the M35i, which will give you over 300 horsepower, but the same amount of torque. All right, y'all, we're now behind the wheel of this X2. I'm gonna give you my impressions on this powertrain. I think there's some good and some bad here, certainly with every vehicle. Now, one thing I've gotta say is that it does feel punchy. I mean, it feels very solid. Once you get some power coming out of it, it really gets going. It's got a good amount of torque for a vehicle of this size, but it does take a while to get that out. And you'll see that as I get on it a little bit later. We'll go through the drive modes in this test drive as well. One other thing I want to mention is that this feels pretty darn firm. This does have the adaptive M suspension, 19-inch wheels, which are big for a vehicle of this size, and it just, I swear you feel everything. It has, more length to it than it used to. However, I think just a shorter wheelbase vehicle like this, you can definitely feel the bumps a lot more than you can on some of the longer, bigger BMWs. Now once this car moves, I'm going to put a little pedal down, and it just takes so long to either kick down or wait for that turbo to spool up. It's one or the other, but this 7-speed dual clutch has not been all that quick getting going. It's been clunky coming down to a stop and slowing my speed. In between gears, like shifting up, up, up as you're accelerating, it's been great. It's been smooth with that and fast, but it's just overall in a day-to-day been kind of a clunky, annoying transmission. Never really my favorite transmission. And this is not a performance vehicle, so it's not something that I expected or really wanted on an X2. But I'm sure for most of you, in a day-to-day sense, you'll get used to it and it's not going to bother you as much. Now, pedal down. It is quick, it is spry, that's for sure. We'll go through the different drive modes in a second and what you can do with these paddles, which is kind of cool as well. So the overall handling feel in here is maybe not your typical BMW. It handles fine. And in the body sense of it is good, but the overall feedback from the steering wheel is a little bit more lazy than what you'll see in a lot of BMWs. Now I'm going to change our drive modes here. So you hit the M or My Modes button down there, and then you can go to whichever one you want. Sport automatically downshifted. It changed our view right here. The head-up display changed. Let's get a little pedal down. And it just holds those RPMs. Now with the turbo and the transmission, if you don't floor it or really have to get on it a lot, most of the time with partial pedal, it's good. Now with this downshifting paddle, the minus over here, if you hold that down, it will automatically take you to your lowest available gear, which is kind of cool. So if you just want to get going, hold it down and boom, it's going to downshift real hard and off you go. And there's times when it really does feel more spry than you might expect, considering its power numbers. It's got good power numbers, but certainly not, you know, great power numbers. I think the torque in here is good, and they did a great job getting it to where it's just punchy once it starts coming out. I'm going to take us back out of that. Go back to the personal mode. The efficient mode's definitely just dulled down in every sense. In terms of road noise, obviously you can hear a rough textured road surface here, but it does contain noise well, and you get laminated glass. So you get some thicker acoustic glass, which helps with noise overall. When you're cruising on the interstate, it's a very quiet vehicle. There's times where I have the windows down or roll them up, and it's like just silences so much of that outside noise. The screen here is easy to see. The head-up display is also pretty crisp and easy to see, although maybe not quite as bright as I want on some of the sunniest days. This screen over here can be kind of annoying with the whole climate control stuff on there. You know, buttons are going away, everything's automatic or voice controlled, but I still get irritated sometimes if I want to mess with the climate. And even if I go to climate and if I have navigation on or something, or Apple CarPlay, whatever, it just gets you completely out of Apple CarPlay. There's not like a designated section that has your climate controls that stay there. So just a small complaint from me, but overall it's fun to drive for the most part. It's got a nice interior, it's bigger than it was before, and it's got this coupe-like design for this X2. So to wrap things up on this BMW X2, I like the looks of it a little more than the 2023 model. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Compared to the X1, this is more coupe-like, more car-like, not so SUV-like. So it depends if you like this design or the X1 design. Which one would you go for? And what do you think? Do you like the fact that it's all-wheel drive standard? Do you like the fact that it gets more power? How about that interior? Leave your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.